salutations, my dearest friends. My name is Samantha, and today we are going to be talking about tropes that I was wrong about. I said I didn't like these tropes, or that I did like these tropes, and well, I was wrong. Hello, how are you? Welcome or welcome back to my channel. I'm really excited for today's video. I actually haven't filmed in a while because I went on vacation. I was gone for a while, and all the videos you had seen were pre-filmed, so it's nice to sit here and chat with you guys. Hello, hi, how are you? Anyways, so today I'm going to be talking about some tropes that I was dead ass wrong about. Like, I was so wrong about. I was saying that I didn't like these tropes or really love these tropes, and then I just started reading more of like those subgenres and realizing I was wrong. There are many tropes that I swore up and down that I hated, I despised, I would not read. And then I like pick some of them up and I'm like, oh, well, they're actually pretty good. I'm coming to realize that I might have some favorite tropes like reverse harem, polyamorous, pretty much any romance that has more than two people. Love that shit. Like, I know I'm gonna like that. You know, second chance romances, friends to lovers. Like, there's some tropes that I know I'm just genuinely gonna love. But to be honest, it's all about an author. Like, I feel like some of my favorite authors, if they just have a good writing, good storytelling, doesn't really matter what kind of trope it is, like, I'm gonna love them because the writing and the romance is good. Does that make any freaking sense? I'll be talking about a couple of tropes that I have said I either really hated, and then I read some books with this trope and I loved them, or tropes that I used to love, but then the more I read, I realized like it's just not my preference. And I'm also going to be giving recommendations. I'll try to give 2 recommendations per trope, and yeah, it's gonna be a casual chill video. I hope you guys enjoy. One trope that I was so wrong about was surprise pregnancy. Hear me out, hear me out, hear me out. When you ask someone like what's their least favorite trope, 9 times out of 10 people say surprise pregnancy. We usually don't like it in the romance community, but I have realized it's actually not that bad of a trope. I like it, I do. I don't know. I literally have said so many times how much I hate surprise pregnancy. I don't really mind surprise baby. Well, I think what it is I don't like when it's a genuine surprise when I'm reading a book and like, bam, pregnancy. You know what I mean? Like, I like when it's like in the plot, like I know that it's going to happen. I feel like a lot of times, like when your biggest plot twist is a spoiler to the book, I just don't like that. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I should be able to talk about the tropes in a book without it being a spoiler. What I mainly didn't like surprise pregnancy is I don't like a miscommunication trope. And one of my biggest like pet peeves is like when the girl gets pregnant and doesn't tell the guy, and the reason for not telling the guy is ludicrous, like absolutely ludicrous. That drives me a little bit crazy. But I have some surprise pregnancies that are pretty good, and I'm going to talk about them. I think what I really like is it's just a different type of dynamic. Like, our characters not only have to figure out how they're going to operate as a couple and together as a relationship, but also how they're going to operate as parents. And it's a fun dynamic. It's a fun little plot twist. I've decided that I like it, okay? Some that I think are really good. Heartless by Daniel Allen. One of my favorite surprise pregnancy tropes. Such a good book. Daniel Allen in general, I just adore her books. In this book, our hero is an absolute player. Okay, he is playing the game. And one night at like 3 o'clock in the morning, his phone rings and he thinks it's a booty call, but it's an unknown number telling them that they're pregnant. And he has no idea who texted him, and he has to like cipher through his brain to figure out who he slept with recently and who he got pregnant. So when he finally figures out who it is, it's our heroine who he kind of met at a wedding, and they have kind of met throughout the years and hooked up at like various different times, but they were never truly like in a relationship. She decides to tell him that she's pregnant, but she really doesn't expect him to have like any responsibility of this child. This one is really interesting because our characters were not in a relationship before the pregnancy, before the baby. I just love our hero's character arc. To see him like turn into a player, into a provider, was just so sexy. Like, this book is sexy. I love it. Love our heroine. She is so strong and independent and speaks her mind, and like, this is a fantastic romance, and that's surprise pregnancy trope. One I feel like we all know and we all love, and that is Destiny Surrender by Beverly Jenkins. This is the second book in the Destiny series. I would recommend reading in order, but you can read the second book as a standalone. There's just like some side characters that have like a side romance throughout the series. Anyways, you can read this as a standalone. I actually have a whole video on this series, the Destiny series, where I talk about all 3 books in the series if you want to watch that. Anyways, this follows our heroine Billy, and she is a lady of the night, a prostitute, a sex worker, if you will. And Drew has been paying her for her services. She's kind of like his mistress in like the beginning of the book, but he comes from a completely different side of town than she does. He comes from a very wealthy family. It's kind of expected of him to marry someone who is also from a wealthy family, so they end up parting ways. But Billy finds out that she's pregnant, and she knows that he has different type of responsibility, so she doesn't tell him right away. And I think a whole year passes before she tells him. She ends up in a situation where herself and her child is actually in danger, so she ends up going to our hero for protection for her child. They're both in a position they really don't want to be in, so there's a lot of like enemies to lovers vibe in the beginning, but they have such good chemistry. Like the chemistry in this book, I love this book. Beverly Jenkins knows how to write a romance, let me tell you that. This is a historic romance set in America, and in general, Beverly Jenkins, I feel like, can write literally any trope, and I will love it. So this is a good one. Oh gosh. I am ashamed. I'm so ashamed. For years, I have literally said over and over again, I don't like Mafia Romances. I don't like Mafia Romances. I have videos where I participate in the Mafia Romance readathon and like drag these books through the mud. Like I could not find Mafia Romances that I liked. Mainly because a lot of them tend to be like enemies to lovers, and I'm not the biggest fan of enemies to lovers. I like soft, sweet romances, or I used to like soft, sweet romances. I feel like my tastes are changing. Anyways, so yeah, I lied. I fucking love Mafia Romances. Jessica from Peace of Books said that Mafia Romances are very similar to historic romances in the sense that they have a lot of the same tropes like marriage of convenience and enemies to lovers and things like that. And it's so true. They're very, very similar, and I think that's why I'm starting to love them. I've started to love them because of Jessica from Peace of Books and Jen from the book Refuge, so if you want more recommendations, go follow their channels because I'm a newbie when it comes to this genre. If you've been watching my channel recently, I have not shut up about my love for Sophie Lark, okay? I read a few Mafia Romances that were just total misses. I was completely writing off the genre, and then I decided to pick up Sophie Lark. I literally could cry. My life changed. My life really changed there, okay? Like, every single book that I have read by Sophie Lark has been phenomenal, and I've literally read, like, 13 at this point. I don't even know, like, which ones to recommend to you because they're all great. All of them. I've given almost every single one of her books 5 stars, and that is a lot. The way she writes her romances, they're steamy, they're well written, they're incredibly romantic, they're incredibly intricate. I love the way that she connects all of her characters in her series. Like, one series will connect to another, and it's just masterpiece. It is a masterpiece. So I know I said that I don't know where to start, but if I was to give a recommendation, there is a reading order to Sophie Lark because so many of her series connect to one another. So I would recommend starting with the Brutal Birthright series. I have an entire video where I talk about this series. I think Brutal Birthright series starts with Brutal Prince, and this is an enemies to lovers romance between Ada and Callum. Ada is a part of the Italian Mafia. Callum is a part of the Irish Mafia. They are like sworn enemies. Ada gets herself in some type of trouble. She ends up crashing one of their parties and, like I said, gets herself in a lot of trouble. So to kind of prevent a territory war, their families decide to put them in an arranged marriage, and they're real pissed about it. Like, they do not want to get married to another. This is true enemies to lovers, and it follows their romance and mafia shenanigans, and it is amazing, wonderful, so good. All of you guys already know who Sophie Lark is. Like, I'm the last one on the train, but if for whatever reason you have put it off because you don't like Mafia Romances, you will like Sophie Lark. I guarantee it. How could you not? Literally, how could you not? I'm gonna shut up about Sophie Lark because I've done so many videos about her already. Anyways, Casey Mint. Casey Mint has some awesome Mafia Romances that I think are really, really good. I should do a video on the Mafia Romances that I like. Maybe I will. Anyways, let me just talk about one by Casey Mint that I really did like. It's called Big Bratva, and it is a part of her Big Boy series, which is a series of novellas that she has that feature plus-size heroes. Casey Mint is a novella author who writes like sweet and steamy insta-love novellas. Usually her books are anywhere between like 60 to 100 pages. Fabulous. I love all of her novellas that I've read so far, and I've read dozens. Hero is an enforcer in the Russian Mafia, I think. I'm not not sure. He is an enforcer of a mafia. Getting a knock on the door, and it is this girl who has been kidnapped. She has like a burlap sack over her head, and she turns out to be a diplomat's, like a very popular diplomat's daughter, and they're basically using her for ransom, and it is his job to keep her hostage. Well, he ends up falling in love with her and kind of helping her get free from the mafia, as well as her father, because her father is like not a great guy. So love this novella, so good. Casey Mint only has like maybe 2 or 3 mafia romances. She doesn't write them often, but when she does, A+. Next trope that I was so wrong about was dark romances. I tended to stray away from dark romances because I don't really know. I tend to stray away from dark romances because I'm a soft bitch, okay? Like, I really do like sweet romances. Don't usually love too many romances that have a lot of angst. It depends. It depends what kind of mood I'm in. This one that rocked my entire world, and I still think about this book, and it is so dark and it's so twisted and has so many trigger warnings. I don't even recommend it to people because it is dark. It is dark. Like, you have to go into this book with 0 trigger warnings because it's dark. And that is Untouchable by Sam Mariano. I read this book because of Jen from the Book Refuge, and I will not shut up about it because it ruined me. Like, I have a reading vlog where I read this book, and I'll link it down below. But our heroine, she goes to this high school that's like really big on football in Texas. Is that a thing? Texas people? Anyways, really big on football. So one of the football players kind of assaults her and makes her uncomfortable. She tells his coach, and he ends up getting kicked off the team and preventing from playing like his final year in high school. So everyone on the football team is furious at her and kind of isolates her and bullies her. So this guy that got kicked off the team is not our hero, by the way. He has some friends that come with him to kind of like terrorize our heroine. Oh my god, when I talk about the plot, it's just so dark and so crazy, and I liked this book. I really did. Okay, anyways, the guy who got kicked off the team brings his friends to terrorize her, and in that group of friends is our hero, Carter Mahoney. I don't remember characters' names ever, but I remember that man's first and last name. First and last name, because he just tore me apart, okay? Anyways, our hero instantly, like, is addicted and obsessed with our heroine, and the way they meet is not great. He kind of assaults her. Not kind of, he does assault her. And it kind of leads into this very dark, tumultuous relationship. Not that I would ever condone this behavior in real life, but our heroine decides to kind of take that incident, and instead of like really letting it break her, she decides that she wants to find out why he did what he did and like what makes him the person that he is. And they end up forming a romance where they kind of blur the lines between consensual non-consent. So it's dark and it's steamy and it's a lot and it's something that I love. So there we go. Another dark romance that I love is the Four Horsemen series by Sarah Bailey. I say I love this, but I don't actually know what I rated this on Goodreads. I might have rated it lowly because it's such a mindfuck. So basically, this series follows our heroine who had like amnesia, everything before the age of 16, and her family is very strict, forcing her to take this internship at like this big corporate company. This corporate company is owned by 4 guys, the Four Horsemen. This is a contemporary series, by the way, it's not paranormal. Girls, they own this company and she is sent there to destroy them. She's working for them, but she's supposed to destroy them, and you don't really know why she wants to destroy them, but that's like the motive. And they fully know who she is. They were connected when they were children. They've known each other since they were children. They remember that, but she doesn't because of the amnesia. And they intend to destroy her. So there you go. It's very sexy, very steamy. It's a reverse harem dark romance. Has every single kink you can imagine. Every single one. Think of a kink. Think of a kink. Think of it. Think of one. It's there, okay? BDSM, blood play, knife play, choking, primal play, stretching kink, DP, reverse harem, everything. Everything. Murder? I think there's murder in this book. I'm pretty sure there's murder in this book. Everything. Like, it is a really bonkers plot, bonkers, and it, like, throughout the entire book, it doesn't even make sense. But I liked it. I'm gonna read the rest of the series, so there you go. So the tropes that I talked about previously, I had said I didn't like, and then I found out I really do like. Now I'm going to talk about some books that I thought I liked this trope, but I actually don't. So for years, literally years, I feel like the building blocks of me being a romance reader was me loving love triangles. Okay, Twilight, Bella and Jacob and Edward, freaking Harry Potter with like Harry, Ron, and Hermione, all the love triangles. I thought I loved them. Hunger Games, like all of the love triangles, right? Well, turns out I don't like love triangles because every time I read a love triangle, every damn time, I'm like, why does she have to pick? Why can't she have both? Kind of love triangles, I don't like when she only ends up like with one person, okay? I want more than two people in pretty much everything I read. And like nowadays, I literally exclusively read polyamorous romances because they're just my favorite. They're my favorite thing. I find that dynamic in a relationship so intriguing, and it just makes everything more fun. I talk about poly romances in pretty much every video of mine because they're truly my favorite. You guys know this, so I have plenty of videos where I recommend them, so I will link some down below. But let me just talk about 4. Okay, I'm gonna talk about them really quick. All of the other ones I recommended like 2 books, but this one I have to recommend a lot. So, Learn My Lesson by Katie Roberts. This book is like ingrained in my brain. Like, this was probably one of the no, was it the first? It was the most well done polyamorous romance that I read in a really long time. This is part of the Wicked Villain series, which is like dark BDSM romances that are Disney fairy tales with the twists. In pretty much all of these, like, the villain is the hero, if that makes sense. So we have this one. This is the second in the series, can be read as a standalone, and it is a polyamorous romance between Hades, Hercules, and Meg. Love it to pieces. This is the dominant one. Meg is a switch, meaning she can be both dominant and submissive, and then Hercules is the submissive one in the relationship. So Hades and Meg had a relationship for a very, very long time, and they end up bringing Hercules into their relationship to spice things up a little, but also because Hades hates Hercules' dad, Zeus, obviously, because he's such an asshole in like Greek mythology. He basically wants to get revenge, so he uses Hercules to get back at Zeus. So this does have a revenge plot, but it ends up forming into a polyamorous romance that is fantastic. Next one is equally steamy, and that is Sugar Daddies by Jade West. So in this one, our heroine is like on a dating app of sorts, and she ends up finding like an ad to be a third in a romance with 2 very hot, sexy billionaires. Like, come on, where can we find that? Where are those ads? Hook me up. Hook me up. Anyways, so she ends up taking the ad and forming a polyamorous romance with these 2 guys. This is a very steamy, kinky book. Let me tell you, Jade West knows how to write steam. Like, when I tell you this book is steamy, it is steamy. It is 3 of Hearts by Lillian Lark. This is a paranormal romance. It features a werewolf, a demon, and a harpy. The 2 guys, 1 girl. And the werewolf, they were together in a romance. The werewolf believed that the demon was his like fated mate, but something wasn't working in the relationship. It felt like something was missing, and what was missing was that the werewolf actually had 2 fated mates, the demon and the harpy. So they all kind of come together in this very intricate paranormal romance, and I really, really loved it so much. It's really hot in my room right now, and my camera keeps overheating, so I'm gonna wrap this up really quick. The last one I want to recommend is written by Catherine Moon. This is a 3-book series, a 4-book series. Has to be read in order. No, it's a 4-book series, yeah, because it's told in each character's point of view. 4-book series, has to be read in order, and it basically follows our heroine who works at this magical library, a college for like witches and warlocks to really help them hone their skills. And she ends up working at this library, but she has no skills that she knows of. And she ends up working there and meeting 3 professors who are all in a coven, and they're looking for like a 4th person to complete their coven, and they are convinced that she is like their fated mate. It's a romance between 3 men and 1 woman, and they are all romantically involved, and it is glorious. And honestly, the plot of this book is so unique. I don't even want to tell you. Because I just want you to enjoy it. But it basically follows like witches and magic and just like really cool shit. Like, I'm gonna say the heroine does have some special powers, and her powers are freaking wicked cool. Like, read this book. I love Catherine Moon. She writes a lot of reverse harem, polyamorous romances that I would also highly recommend. Sorry for the beeping in the background. It's my dryer, and it's driving me bonkers. But I hope this video made you guys think of some tropes that maybe you need to revisit. You know what I mean? Like, some authors are just so talented at their craft that they can make any trope work. So hopefully this helped. If you like these tropes, hopefully you have some recommendations now. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend time with me. It means the world to me. I hope you guys are all staying happy and healthy, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!